Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chisako from Build Strong Pelvic Health and Physical Therapy. Today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about Kegels. Now, Kegels are something that I feel like we've always been hearing about from OBGYNs, from doctors, and now all over social media. But do you really know how a Kegel really works? Has anyone shown you or has anyone given you feedback as to how to really do a Kegel? Chances are you haven't. So, all the times that you could be doing a Kegel, are you actually doing it correctly and is it benefiting you? So, I am here to explain to you a little bit about the truth of Kegeling. Now, Kegeling is something, if done correctly, it's definitely something that is beneficial and will improve a lot of your pelvic floor symptoms. However, if it is not done correctly, or if it's done inappropriately, meaning if you didn't truly get an assessment prior to you starting a Kegel, then chances are you might be actually making your symptoms worse. Now, let's talk about how you are actually doing your Kegel. So with a Kegel, a lot of times people will say, stop the flow of urine, squeeze, and just hold and bear down. Now, a lot of those cues might work for some people, but the reality is that might be tightening your pelvic floor in a way that it's not meant to be. So, one of the ways that you can think about turning on your pelvic floor is thinking about bringing your hip bones together. Now, thinking about bringing your hip bones together, that really emphasizes the squeeze not only internally, but also externally. Now, you can also think about bringing your hip bones together and imagining zipping up your pants or sucking up on a straw. So, thinking about going from a little bit lower to a little bit of a higher ground will definitely help bring the pelvic floor together, but also bringing it up, which is just as important. Now, with Kegeling, it may be something that you may not have to isolate doing, especially if you don't know if you're doing it correctly. So, some of the things that you could be doing instead of Kegeling initially could be practicing breathing. Now, everyone's breathing. We're all breathing, right? However, are we breathing correctly? Chances are we're not. So what we're going to really work on is making sure that you're taking a nice deep breath in as your belly is coming out, and then taking a nice deep breath out with your belly coming in. Now, breathing in should be more of an active movement versus exhaling should be more passive. So there should be no pushing when you're exhaling. If you are doing this breathing exercise correctly, sometimes called diaphragmatic breathing, sometimes called 360 breathing, if you're doing this correctly, then you'll feel your pelvic floor actually coming down as you're taking a nice deep breath in, and then your pelvic floor naturally rises as you're exhaling. Now, when you're doing that, you're actually contracting your pelvic floor and you're not really doing much more work than breathing correctly. So, if you're breathing correctly, then chances are you're working your pelvic floor muscles. Now, another thing that you could do instead of just Kegeling is doing something as simple as a bridge. Now, that entails you laying on your back, bringing both knees bent, and then from that position, you're just going to lift your butt off the ground and then back down. Up and then down. So by doing that, what you're doing is you're engaging your glutes, you're engaging your core, and you're bringing your legs, your butt down. So when you're doing this, you really want to make sure that you're breathing. Now, when you're going up and against gravity, what you're going to do is you're going to exhale. And then when you're coming back down from a bridge, you're going to inhale. So remembering some of these cues will really be beneficial for you to activate your pelvic floor without only doing a Kegel. My direct contact will be below.